Good morning, Maxim.
Morning.
So how's the weather today? Since we see all over the news here in Sweden that it's
Uh,
chaos in the US.
oh, okay. Interesting. I haven't watched the weather news. I'm in Southern California. I've been here for a few days. It was raining yesterday.
Mhm.
Right now it's not raining, so I have to drive back to Northern California today. So hopefully the weather stays clear.
Yeah. I was thinking about something you said during our intro chat a couple of weeks ago. The idea that most men are quietly living with a kind of internal disconnection. That's the thread we're going to pull today, and it's going to be deep.
Okay.
So can't
Absolutely.
wait to dive in.
Sure.
The following is a conversation with Maxim Shapiro, a man's purpose coach and founder of Forward Motion Coaching. This is Pre-Zero Sports Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Sid Bensalah. Today, we delve into reclaiming purpose and authentic self-leadership in a time of disconnection to uncover genuine stories and insights that truly matter. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and supporting the show. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has financially supported this podcast. Your support is deeply appreciated and help us reach many people and authentic voices from all walks of life, bringing real stories and conversation that go beyond the game. If you haven't already, please consider supporting us at prezerosportstalk.com. Check the episode description for more detail. Maxim, it's great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. Take us back to that moment when you first realized something was off in your life. What were you feeling and what shifted?
Well, there are a couple different moments that run through my mind. The first one being when I was 19 years old,
Mhm.
and it was the summer after my first year of college, and I was at home. I was working, and I remember being very unhappy with my life. Um, and I just remember being just very frustrated and like constantly negative in my mind. And at the end of that summer, something happened that had never happened to me. I lost all my desire to do anything. Like I almost couldn't get out of bed.
Wow.
And now I look back and I realize that that was depression. And that was the first time I fell into that kind of bout of depression, but it was the result of this negative talk in my head that was just constant. And the reason that negative talk was there was because I was just kind of floating through life without really pushing myself. So that was kind of the first time that really happened. But unfortunately, that continued until I was about 40 years old. I never really learned fully the lesson from that, and then finally, when I was 41 years old, a friend of mine put me in touch with this woman who was a life coach, is a life coach, and she and I began. First we began to work together, and then we began a relationship, and she really changed my life and helped me see that I wasn't living the way I could be living, and that's why I was unhappy, and B, showed me how to start living more fully.
Hmm. And when you say you struggled, did you wrestle, Maxim, with the why, with that question why, and purpose as well?
Yeah, I did. It's not like I was not trying to figure it out. I actually was quite actively trying to figure it out, and doing exercise on life's purpose, and I did seminars and all this kind of stuff. And now looking back, I understand that I I wasn't going deep enough. What I was doing was more surface, and there was just something I was still holding back. And again, I didn't realize that I was holding back. I mean, I think I did in some part of myself, but I just didn't. I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't have like an answer for what to do. And then, you know, again, I met this woman. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, which is in the northeast of the United States, and she was in California, and I decided to move to California. And that really was kind of the thing that started, this phase of my journey, because I basically, I had grown up in Massachusetts, and I had stayed in Massachusetts because it was safe. And so that was really the first time in my 40 years that I was getting out of my comfort zone and quit my job, left everything behind that I had known up till that point, moved to California, started a business, and really, for the first time in my life, started to challenge myself,
right,
in a way that was designed intentionally to give me the chance to fulfill my potential. So.
You've described your awakening as jarring. What made it feel that way, Maxim?
I was completely out of my depths and out of my comfort zone. It was like, it was as though I had been driving along a highway for all these years, and then I realized that I was on the wrong road, and the road I wanted to be on was like, way over there. But in order to get from here to there, there was like a forest between us, and I just turned into the forest, and all of a sudden I'm off-roading.
Wow.
It was that kind of thing, because I had never been in a relationship longer than a year. I had never worked for myself. I had spent most of my time in the Northeast. In fact, I had only ever lived in the Northeast. And I also, up until that point, for like 10 years, I had been on antidepressants.
Okay.
And so I moved to California. I, got into this relationship. I mean, by the time I moved there, we had already been in a relationship for a year. But I, kind of committed to this relationship, started my own business. And then when I moved to California, I ended up getting off medication. I was already trying to wean myself off. I had already tried 3 separate times to get off completely. And the 4th time worked, and I was able, but, basically all of these things, I did them all at the same time. And for me, it was like, that was my version of jumping into the deep water, right? And seeing if I could swim. And I remember moving out there and thinking to myself, this is going to be hard, and I'm going to find out what I'm made of right now. And that really became the driver. And it was scary, and it was lonely, and it was hard. And the main thing that kept me going, because there was a long period of time when I felt like let's say you're walking through the desert, and you've been walking for a long time. So you can't really see where you started anymore, but you can't see your destination either. You're literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. You have no bearing at all.
Yeah. And you don't know how much longer you're going to have to walk until you get to the other side. That's a very lonely place to be.
It is.
And I spent a lot of time in that place. And the thing that kept me going was knowing that the only thing that's worse than where I am right now is going back to where I was.
Yeah. When you look back, Maxim, what was the single most surprising thing you discovered about yourself?
I discovered that I had a whole world inside of myself that I had been suppressing my entire life. And part of my growth, my self-actualization, was learning to just communicate a lot of things that were going on inside of me that for some reason I never realized they weren't meant to stay inside of me. So I would have these thoughts and feelings, and I started to turn them into words and say them out loud, either to my partner or to, other people in my life. And because I'd be in situations and there would be things that I wanted to say, but my whole life I had blocked myself from saying the things that I really wanted to say. And I started to say those things, and I started to have this realization, like, oh, like these thoughts that I've had my whole life, I should have been communicating them. Like I didn't need to keep them inside. That was a huge realization for me.
Yeah. And when that moment hit you, did it feel like relief, fear, loss of identity, or something else?
No, I think it felt, it felt liberating. It was a little sad because I realized how much I had blocked myself
For quite a long
for 40
time.
years.
Yeah.
I think my biggest emotion during that time was sadness, because I was just, I was realizing, like, on a daily basis how much I had lost and missed out on for so long. And now I was starting to experience these things, these feelings, just having these experiences that I had hidden from subconsciously my whole life. And I just kind of realized, like, wow, like my life could have been so much better, so much richer. And I've been missing out on so much of what life has to experience.
And during that period before, your outlook, was it kind of positive, kind of this big question mark? Or did you see hope, in front of you, or nothing?
I definitely wouldn't say nothing. I would say it was a lot of, hope is really all I had. It was a lot of kind of difficulty, not knowing where I was going or if I was going in the right direction. And then it would be punctuated by these little moments of, okay, I'm going in the right direction. Like something good would happen, or I would have like an aha moment. And it was like, oh man, that feels so good. Okay, keep going. So it's like, probably 90% of the time was hard. And then I would have these little moments that would be like, oh wow, okay, I am doing the right thing. Keep going. And then, eventually that built, and today I would say it's the opposite. But I definitely had to get good at finding wins. In fact, I'd say that was a huge takeaway for me. I learned to give myself credit for effort as opposed to results. So my whole life, I thought that the way I had to judge myself was on my results, because that's what I had been taught.
Yeah.
And I realized that the way I really need to judge myself is on my effort, because I would have these moments where I would be really frustrated, and I didn't think, results were happening the way I wanted them to, or as quickly as I wanted them to. And I got into the habit of asking myself, well, am I giving my best? And the answer was always yes when I asked myself that question. And so I kind of realized, okay, well, if I'm giving my best, that's all I can do. It's not about the results.
Yeah.
I have to learn to take pride in my effort, and the results will be there if I keep giving my effort.
Yeah.
So that was another huge revelation for me, because I was able to kind of take this thing that I'd been doing my whole life that was sabotaging me and change it over into a practice that started to build me up.
Wow. Wow. And it took 40 years.
Yeah.
The reason I ask about hope, because quite often in similar situation, people, they have no, I mean, when you say you keep criticizing yourself constantly, of course, with negative thoughts and stuff like that, and correct me, Max, if I say something not relevant here to your past, then you are in that desert where you cannot go back. You don't see the horizon. You don't see the target. You don't see where you're heading, you know. And somehow you kept hope, which is kind of unique and positive in the same time, you know. And we can say, I always say that, you know, as long as there is life, there is hope. And you just need to let go, because there will always be next day, next morning, new day, you know. And on that, what does it mean to be the hero of your own life in real, practical terms?
To be the hero of your own life means to be going for it, whatever it means for you every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you can come home at the end of the day and tell yourself, I gave my best today. That's, you know, pretty simplistic, but that's probably the best way I could put it. And once I started living in this way, where I was pushing myself, and I you know, made this kind of started this transformation that we're talking about, I noticed how I was coming home every day, and no matter what had happened that day, I felt like I gave it all,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's a good feeling. And I started to notice that this feeling I had had my whole life of wishing I was somebody else started to go away.
Yeah.
And I started to become proud of who I was, because I was starting to like myself. I was starting to respect myself, because I was giving 100% of my effort every day. And so every day I would build a little bit more of this identity of somebody who gave 100% effort.
Yeah.
Because I had spent 40 years with this identity of somebody who very rarely gave 100% effort, and very often quit before he should have, and wasn't reliable, wasn't dependable, wasn't consistent. You know, I was the guy who would be like, I would get like 90% of the way there, and then I would fall down in the last 10%.
Oh,
You
you
know?
come really close.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. But I didn't know how to keep it going, and basically score and get it over the
yeah,
goal line.
yeah.
You know? And so I think my whole life people looked at me and expected one thing and got something else. And I wanted to be the person that people could depend on, and get what they expected.
Yeah. And today, what's your relationship with self expectations?
Actually, right now I'm starting to I'm learning to set bigger and scarier goals. I had a recent revelation, because I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship with goals. You know, a lot of people talk about goals. You got to set goals, and for me, I've always found goals scary, and I kind of realized why just in the last few weeks. And it's because I always had this relationship to goals that if you set a goal, you have to achieve it. And if you don't achieve it, you failed.
Yeah.
And the revelation I had was that's actually that's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is set a big, scary goal, and just give your best, but know that you might get it, you might not get it. But just setting that goal and opening your mind to having that goal is going to change your life. So it's not about ending up where you set the goal or not. It's about the experience you're going to go through in becoming the person who can potentially accomplish that goal. That's really the worthwhile thing. So there's really no way to fail, as long as you're setting goals that push you. So that was kind of a cool revelation.
It is. It is. It is. And while you're talking, I'm trying to digest, to picture actually your situation before and now, you know. And what strikes me, it's before you were focusing only on results, but then you neglected the effort it takes to reach those results. And if you don't, if you worked 90% and the 10%, maybe you didn't have a drive or the stamina or maybe something else to cross the finishing line or to be on the podium and to raise that trophy, don't you think it's all depend on the mindset? Because life itself, it's a test. Life is testing us every day, and there is no guarantee whatsoever, and especially in sport. There is no guarantee whatsoever you're going to win. You're going to cross the finishing line first, or you're going to win that game or a match. And it's a constant failure. You get up, you train, you do your best. Absolutely. Yes, you wish that the result will be positive to keep everyone happy, the fans, but there is no guarantee. There is absolutely zero guarantee that you're going to win. You're going to cross that finishing line first. And that's the beauty of sport. It is similar to life. And that thing builds some kind of grit, resilience, mental toughness, we can call it whatever, Yeah, it's interesting that it sounds like when you don't manage to, to finish the last mile or the last inch on the pitch or the 10%, the last 10%, like you describe it, were you hard on yourself? Did you punish yourself?
I was hard on myself. Yeah, I was hard on myself, but I wasn't hard on myself in the ways that I was hard on myself in ways I shouldn't have been hard on myself. And I wasn't hard on myself in ways that I should have been hard on myself. So what I mean by that is I was hard on myself when I wouldn't get the results that I wanted. I would beat myself up. But when it was time to give the effort to get those results, I would go easy on myself. I would let myself quit. I would let myself give less than 100%. So it was a losing formula. I was not tough on myself when it mattered, when I was putting in the effort, and then I would inevitably fail because I didn't put the effort in, and then I would beat myself up for not getting the results. So it was a horrible way to live because I pretty much guaranteed that I was always beating myself up.
Yeah.
And
okay.
That's the beauty.
Yeah. Fantastic. Now, if I have to ask you, and you look back, if I have to ask you, what's your definition of success?
Success to me is knowing that you're giving your best every day, knowing that you have chosen a worthwhile challenge for yourself in life, that you're going after it, that you take chances, you take risks that are in service to this purpose, this person that you're trying to be. Basically, I think we all have a hero in our mind. We all have this version of ourselves in our mind that we want to be. That's like our best self. And success is allowing ourselves to go after that best self and turn that into a reality.
Yeah. I always use as a reference Coach John Wooden. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the name. Yeah, he was famous. He was the UCLA basketball college coach, and he developed a methodology called the Pyramid of Success. And it's not only on sport. You can use it everywhere. You can use it in a family. You can use it within a business. And I always use his reference when it comes to success. And you are really close because I hear you. All the efforts you made, all the hard work you put in, the sweat and stuff like that. And then yet again, there is no guarantee of success that you're going to cross the finishing line first. And he said, and I quote, "Success is a peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best of which you are capable."
It's perfect.
Period. And especially to our listeners, if you put yourself in a corner and you say, yeah, I tried, okay, I'll pull the plug. You should never pull the plug. Just carry on. The minute you understand why you failed, sometimes it's quite hard to find the reasons. But quite often it's the root cause that they are there. Just keep trying, never give up, never give up. And like we discuss about the concept of hope, which quite often we don't understand, how we keep wishing, okay, the next time is going to be better. And then we have to work harder, roll our sleeves and keep going. So yeah, and coach wouldn't really hit the nail. That's why he was successful. Yeah. So Maxim, you've talked about someone who helped teach you how to love. How did that change you?
Well, I mean, it added something to my life that wasn't there, because I didn't know how to do that.
Mm.
I knew how to say I love you, but I didn't know how to do the action of loving, and that has a lot to do with everything we're talking about.
Mm.
Loving is effort. Loving something or someone is putting effort into that thing or person. If you're putting effort into something, then you are loving it. So the more effort you put into something or someone, the more you're loving them, including yourself. And so there would be moments with this woman where I would shut down. I would think, like the relationship was over, we had an argument or something, and then she would show up and I would be surprised. I'd be like, oh, wait, it's not over. Oh, we're still going. Okay. And that was new to me. That was a new experience to me.
Yeah.
To have this person in my life who didn't quit, who just kept loving me, who kept showing up for me. Mm-hmm. That was a new experience. So she taught me to do that, for her and for other people, and she taught me to do it for myself.
Wow, I love it. She never gave up on you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, she never gave up on me. She was tougher on me than anybody had ever been. But she also was there for me, all the time. So it was that combination. I think there was something that my parents missed. My parents were tough on me in the sense of, oh, you have to get A's, saying the right things. Mm-hmm. But then they wouldn't follow up with the action of actually being there for me and with me as I was going through. Like, they didn't really teach me anything, My father never really taught me anything. I mean, he taught me things through the way that he was, but we didn't have these moments where he would take me aside and show me how to do things.
Yeah.
It just wasn't part of his personality. And I think that's really kind of the key. You need both pieces. You need to set high standards, whether it's for yourself or your children or whoever if you're working as a coach, like John Wooden, perfect example. He set very high standards for his players, but he didn't just say, okay, today, I want you to be the best team in the country, and then leave the gym and then, expect them to figure it out by themselves. Yeah. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what my parents did. And they did the best they knew how to do, right? So I'm just explaining what was missing. And so she came along, and she was really the first person who set very high standards for me. In fact, higher than I set for myself or anybody else had ever set, but then also stayed there to show me in a relationship sense what that meant and how to do it. So that was a new experience for me.
What did that relationship reveal about your weaknesses or strength?
Well, it revealed that I gave up too early. That I had learned to not give my best, to not believe in myself, to not follow my heart, to not believe in love, to not believe that giving my best was worth it. I started to change all of those things.
Mhm. Were you aware you were being transformed in the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when we first met, I mean, I think I was aware, but it was more subtle. But then when we actually started to be in a relationship together,
Mm.
then it was more intense. But I was very aware that I was being transformed. I think because I was so far behind where I could have been or should have been at that age that it's like when somebody is heavily overweight and they start to lose weight. The first few pounds come off very fast, right? It's easy to see the difference at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I had so much ground to cover that it would have been impossible not to see the improvement in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing all that, Maxim. Let's shift gear and talk about motion coaching. Who do you typically work with, and what are the challenges they bring?
I work with men
Mhm.
who are in my situation. I work with women also, sometimes in a corporate sense, but in my private coaching practice, I gear it more towards men. And there are a lot of men who are unhappy in some way because they're not getting after it every day the way that they could be. And they might be successful men. They might have a good job. They might have a family. These men aren't losers, but some people just it's not common for people to be in touch with their authenticity. That's not something that our society focuses on, or I should say, in the United States, it's become something that is more of a focus, but that doesn't mean people know how to do it.
Mm.
There's a lot of lip service, but people don't necessarily know what it actually means to be authentic and to have that be a guide in your life. And a lot of times that's what it takes. You might have all of the trappings of success. Maybe you've got a good job, or you've built a business, you've got a family, you've got a nice car, whatever. But if you're not connected to your own authenticity, then you're not going to get the level of fulfillment that you would get if you were coming from a more authentic place.
And is it an easy task, Maxim, because for folks out there, they say, okay, how do you do it? How do you help them reconnect with the authenticity? Is it something easy? It takes time? Is the process complicated?
So it's really about, first of all, having that intention of connecting to it, and then listening and asking questions. And a lot of times we pull our punches when we ask people questions because we don't want to offend them.
Mm.
And you have to be able to ask the questions that you're afraid to ask, that your intuition or your coaching mind tells you to ask, because that's where the revelations are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I look at it differently. Maybe you don't want them to be offended. I think it's mainly you want them to open up because, dudes, we are like this oyster, the hard to open, and harder sometimes you try with the knife. You keep cutting your fingers, so that's what it is. And we have this pride. Quite often we don't want to talk about these things. We are like this oyster, So yeah. This is why I asked about the process itself. How do you get them to just relax and open up and talk? Because for sure, 100% you have to establish this trust with your client, for them to start talking and to figure out how you go from there, I guess.
Yeah, in order to get somebody else to relax, you have to relax yourself.
True.
I was coaching somebody actually earlier this week, and we had a couple of sessions, and very nice person, and I like him, and I was struggling a little bit with how are we going to get to the next level with this person. We had kind of identified what the issue was, and I knew where I wanted to get him, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. So the session started, and I just noticed that I was tense because I was pressuring myself to create a result for this person. And I said, hold on a second, just relax. Forget about the result. Just be here in this moment right now and trust that it's gonna come. And so I kind of went back to basics and just started asking him the next question that made sense for me. And that happened a few times. And then sure enough, we had a breakthrough. He said something that, basically opened up a whole new avenue for us to go down that showed exactly what he needed to do to get to the next level. And that was just because I stopped pressing myself. I kind of took my foot off the pedal a little bit, which allowed me to listen better, not just to him, but to myself. Because when we're coaching, and just like when we're going through life, our intuition is talking to us.
Yeah.
And that was another huge revelation I had in this transformation period. I realized that I had been ignoring my intuition my whole life. I realized how to recognize my intuition and when it's talking to me, and that it's not just this random voice that I should ignore, which I had been doing my whole life. I actually have to listen to this voice. And when I started listening to that voice, my whole life started to change. And so when I'm coaching, that's happening. I'm coaching you, I'm listening to you, and my intuition is talking to me and saying, okay, now ask this, now go here, now say this. And as long as I listen to my intuition, everything goes well. So I just started, but in order to listen to your intuition, you have to relax.
Yeah.
If you're tense, your intuition's not going to get through to you. So as soon as I allowed myself to relax, I started to hear my intuition and follow it. And then it led to this breakthrough for this person.
Yeah, interesting. And when they reach out for the first time, when you have the first one-to-one meeting, what sign, what kind of states they are mentally, or maybe physically you see, mentally and physically you see some kind of burnout or...
Yeah, there might be some fatigue. Often it's just, it's people who, and again, a lot of times, because a lot of these men are middle-aged, they've already accomplished a lot of stuff.
Here we go, stuff. It's only stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, it shows who you are as a person and what you're capable of. So these people might have built companies, they've had successful careers. They're just not quite where they want to be. And like with all of us, they're their worst enemy. The reason that they're not where they want to be is because of what's in here. But like everybody, they can't see it themselves. They need someone from the outside with a different perspective to look in and say, okay, well, what about this? You aren't thinking about this. What if you took a look at it from this perspective? And that's where the aha moments come.
Mm-hmm. Maxim, how do you define a true self?
True self is who you are if you're not trying to be someone for other people. That's your true self. That's your authentic self. And that doesn't necessarily mean, like, for example, my authentic self is someone who is considerate and takes other people's views into account. So I'm not talking about being a bull in a china shop. But there is a concept of a true self. Like, we're in this body, and somewhere inside me is who I really am. And that might, shift from situation to situation. I might have one situation where my true self wants to be more outspoken, and I might have another situation where my true self wants to be more quiet and listen or let other people talk. But being in touch with that person and trying to connect with that person is what's important.
Can someone, Maxim, be honest with themselves but still struggle to express it outwardly?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're not sure all the time how to say the things that we want to say, or if they should be said. I mean, I go through that all the time, where I'm in a situation and I've got different thoughts running through my mind. I found that stillness is a really, really useful tool. That just when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, the thing to do is to stop. And if you can physically stop, that's even better. But really just stop, focus on your breathing. Just don't put the pressure on yourself to do something. Very often when we're overwhelmed, our brain starts to spiral, and we start to tell ourselves that we need to do something. But when you act, when you're in that place, your action is always going to be off base. It's going to be inefficient. It's going to be wasted. It's going to be inauthentic, because an inauthentic part of your brain is talking to you. So the way I learned to counterbalance that was just to focus on my breathing and to stop moving if I can.
Yeah.
And then let there be space around me. And then you start to realize, okay, this situation is outside of me. It's not, it's not part of me. And so I can kind of distance myself from it. I can relax a little bit. And then in that space between the situation and me, new options for action come in. And that's where the intuition is talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can do this or say this. And that's where you have to listen to it and move forward.
The reason I ask you that question, quite often the person that you meet, and even your story, and I think it's everywhere, because successful CEO or a leader, or even within the household, successful parents, 100% in those situations, someone is there, let's say, try to please others, be there, try to push the bar for more result, and it will catch up with you, and it will hit you hard if you neglect completely yourself. Like you said, they achieved so many things, and yet again, it's things, and those things, it doesn't stop. Let's talk about masculinity in today's world. Why do so many men feel completely irrelevant or displaced in modern culture?
I think it's because masculinity has gotten a bad rap. Somebody was telling me recently, I think it was a woman, and she was telling me that it's gotten so bad that she's got daughters, and they were having a conversation, and the question was, okay, if you're in the woods alone, would you rather meet a bear or a man?
Oi.
And her daughters were like, well, I'd rather meet a bear because a man might hurt me, right?
Oi.
As opposed to thinking, a man might help me get away from a bear, but a bear is definitely going to kill me, So, I think that being a man has lost its meaning. And, in certain ways, for good reason. Women have become educated and have access to resources that only men had access to, 100 years ago or whatever. So part of it has to do with equality. But part of it is just that we've lost respect for ourselves. I think we started to get the message that we weren't that important, that what we have to say is not that important, and we started to believe it. Unfortunately, some of the women's liberation movement came from a place of anger and not liking men, and that seeped into society, and that movement became very successful. And so this kind of loathing of men became pretty standard, certainly in the United States. And so I feel like there's there's ground for us to gain back just by respecting ourselves. And part of it is we did to ourselves. I mean, there's a reason that the term toxic masculinity exists, and I don't use it or agree with it a lot of the time. But if you think of somebody who is trying to impose his will on the people around him and being a bully and all this kind of stuff, like the most negative aspects of aggression or masculinity, that's kind of what comes to mind. And that's not what being a man is about. That's not what being a leader is about. And if you look at the best leaders out in society, or if you just think through your life of other men you've known who have been the leaders who had the greatest effect on you, they probably weren't bullies. They were probably men who took chances themselves. If they were part of a team, they took the risk first, right? They were the first into battle and the last to leave the battle. They worked harder than everybody else. They woke up earlier than everybody else. They stayed up later than everybody else. They took care of the people around them. They went above and beyond for the people in their lives. That's what being a man really is about.
Yeah, there's a culture shift, and there is so many reasons beside as well of feminism, which is another topic, and we can talk about it for days, But don't you think digital culture influenced a lot men's sense of purpose?
Sure. It's become way too easy to just stay in your own living room and do things that make you feel like you're living a full life when you're actually missing out on life. You don't have to leave your home to go to work. You don't have to leave your home to feel like you're in a relationship. There's all sorts of things that that people can do now virtually that I guess gives them, a dopamine hit that makes it feel like you did that thing. Apparently, I heard this that like if I say, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym today," that just saying that gives me the same dopamine hit that actually going to the gym gives me. So I don't actually have to go to the gym to get the dopamine, right? And that's kind of the world we live in. We live in this virtual world where we give ourselves dopamine hits without actually doing the thing that we're talking about. And there's absolutely no way to be happy or fulfilled if that's the way that you're living life.
Yeah, interesting. There is so many root cause. But then at the end of the day, to simplify it, I think we lost touch completely with the sense of community. If you compare it to 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s as well, whatever cultural shift, at least there was this community coming together, You have places of worship, you have little stores, you have bakery, you have schools, sport facility and things like that, and everyone helping. I think maybe now in the West, we are paying the price of prosperity. I don't know if that makes sense, And this topic is being politicized so much, not only in the US, here in Europe it's been so politicized, and each political party, they pull on different sides, and we see the consequence now. I mean, prosperity, technology, innovation, lifestyle, it's all good, but then at what cost? Yeah. Sorry, Maxim, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was going to say, you said paying the price of prosperity. The thing is that technology has become so available and cheap that it's accessible to just about anybody. So there are places that are very poor where everybody still has a cell phone.
Yeah.
So it's not just prosperity. It's just living in this virtual world that it actually has nothing to do with how rich you are.
Yeah. And can real community still be rebuilt, in your opinion? And if yes, how?
Yeah, absolutely. and it takes effort. It takes a desire to do it. I train jiu-jitsu. I belong to a gym, and we have a community there. The people there have similar, backgrounds. I mean, we all live in the same area. A lot of people have kids.
Is it mixed men and women?
Yeah, it's mixed men and women. It's mixed racially. It's mixed professionally. And at the end of the day, we, come together in this thing and beat each other up, and it's incredibly rewarding. I think that's a really important part of it too. You saw it a little bit with CrossFit culture too.
Yes, it was
like a cult, like a community builds up around these gyms. And,
it was a boom, actually. It was like a trendy to join a CrossFit session like 10, 15 years ago. And I have the feeling it slightly, it went down.
Probably it's gone down a little bit.
Yeah. But it was big. I fully agree with you.
Yeah. And the concept is that, what draws these people together is this common thing and I think, at least for jiu-jitsu, what helps it is that it's hard. It's challenging, and it's rewarding when you do something challenging together.
It's hard, but the community is nice. It's good. I have two boys, two teenagers. They are all in jiu-jitsu, so they never miss a session, and they love the community, and it's a nice community. It's really nice. Beside of the ring, beside of the training, they come together. There is a support. There is this sense of camaraderie. If someone, they keep checking on each other, which is quite rare, I fully agree with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's communities being built all over the place. Human beings are unbelievably resilient, and we want community. So we keep kind of figuring out ways to do it. We're good at it.
We can talk about this for days, and I'm just mindful of the time. So what practical steps help men move from stuck to live? Is it a mindset?
I mean, ultimately, you have to pick a direction, and you have to take action, and you have to, even small steps. In fact, if you're going from 0 to 1, small steps are the best, right? You can't get everything done at once. But it's about taking small steps, but it's about continuing to take those small steps. And I think, unfortunately, where a lot of people sabotage themselves is up here. So we're kind of in this place where we don't have what we want. I don't have enough love in my life. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. Well, all you have to do is do any one thing. Just do one small thing. Just start to do something, and that will start to get the wheels turning. But we talk ourselves out of doing those things because if we don't know if it's the right thing. But the truth is, as long as your intentions are good, right, and you're trying to get the best out of yourself, it almost doesn't matter what you do, right? You just have to allow yourself to do something, and then that step will reveal the next thing to do. Like, clarity comes from action, not from inaction. So too often we sit back and we don't act, and we say, "Oh, well, I'm waiting for clarity." Well, you're not going to get clarity until you start to move. So getting into action and not doing it alone. We need good advisors in our lives. We need to listen to the advice that those people give. We need to follow that advice, we need to bet on ourselves. But just action and consistency. Just keep doing it. Keep looking for the next way to get better, and keep moving forward.
What's the success rate with your clients? Or let me rephrase that question. Have you seen with a particular client or clients that they start well, and then suddenly within a certain period of time, they pull the plug?
Sure. It absolutely happens. I mean, you might accomplish what you set out to accomplish in the coaching relationship, and then, it's, they don't see a reason to move forward. Very often clients don't buy into the coaching process. They stop themselves from really seeing the value of it or getting as much out of it as they could. And so they say, okay, well, now it's, I don't want to keep spending money on this or whatever, or, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, the client has to buy into it in their own mind.
Yeah.
And we as a coach can help them do that. But I would say that whenever I worked with a client, as long as that client does the work, it's always successful. It can't not be successful. I'm always going to give them good coaching, and if they come to it with the intention of really getting the best out of themselves and they take action, it's always going to be successful.
Yeah, great. You're listening to the Pre-Zero Sports Talk. For more conversations on sports leadership, faith, performance, and innovation from Sweden to the world, visit prezerosportstalk.com. Now it's time for our lightning round. Ready for speedy Q&A?
Let's do it.
Coffee, tea, or something else?
It depends. I like both coffee and tea. Probably more coffee than tea, but being Russian, I like tea as well with lemon.
Yeah. Morning person or a night owl?
I'm more of a morning person. I'm learning to be better at night, but it's easier for me to be awake and alert in the morning.
What do you mean by better? Like more discipline, going to bed at a certain time?
No, to kind of hold my own late at night.
Okay.
Better.
Yeah.
And I'm finding sometimes I like staying up later, and kind of allowing myself to be creative then.
Yeah. A book that has stuck with you.
A book that stuck with me. Well, let's see. One book that I was talking about recently with someone is Atlas Shrugged. And it's a big book, but it's incredibly well written. I've read it 3 times in my life, and every time I read it, I was in a different place in my life. And so it had a different effect on me. And when I first read it, I was in high school, and it was the most, kind of revolutionary book I'd ever read. And then my opinion of its philosophy kind of declined a little bit as time went on. But it's an unbelievably well-written book that I think is worth reading, just because it's so well written.
Mm-hmm. Your favorite way to unwind after a long day or a long week?
Jiu-Jitsu, believe it or not.
Even in the weekend, let's hit the gym.
Or sitting at home and watching some Netflix. But I love draining my battery. Just getting, because at the end of the day, a lot of us feel exhausted at the end of the day, but it's more mental or emotional exhaustion. It feels like physical exhaustion, but it's not. Your body still has more to go. But when you drain that physical battery, then you feel really good.
What's your jiu-jitsu session look like?
Half an hour of warm-up, half an hour of drilling, half an hour of live sparring is a typical.
Yeah, it's a classic
class.
Yeah. And it's how many days a week?
I try to go every day if I can. Sometimes I go twice a day.
It's like a virus, man. There is no antidote.
No, there isn't. We have a 6 a.m. session that only lasts an hour, and we do that 3 days a week. So sometimes I go twice a day.
And is it busy?
Yeah. Sometimes there aren't a lot of people, but sometimes there are more. But generally speaking, we have
fantastic.
A good group.
Yeah. A song that always lifts your mood.
I've really gotten to like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I've
been listening to them a lot lately, and I play drums as well.
Okay, nice.
So I've started to play drums to their songs. I like their music.
Nice. A place in the world that inspires you.
San Francisco, where I live outside of San Francisco, but my office is in the city. That city inspires me, and when I've been to Paris is probably my favorite place in the world. I'd like to live there someday.
Okay.
Paris definitely inspires me.
It's a busy city. It's a busy, crazy city.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah.
Maxim, if you could have a dinner with a historical figure, who will it be and why?
Man, I would have dinner. I'd have dinner with Gloria Steinem,
Okay.
who was the head of the women's liberation movement in the United States. And I would ask her why she did what she did and what she thinks of men and why. I would try to get inside her brain.
One lesson you learned the hard way.
You have to give it all. Yeah, that's really the only worthwhile way to live life.
Your perfect day off without jiu-jitsu, of course.
Yeah. Spending it with someone I love, eating good food, spending time outside, laughing, relaxing, just forgetting about the time.
And lastly, one word you hope people use to describe you.
Inspiring. Yeah.
Maxim Shapiro, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
And for our listeners, I would like to close with a few words that really reflects today's conversation from Viktor Frankl. When a man cannot find meaning, he distracts himself with pleasure. This resonates deeply with what we've discussed with Maxim. That purpose isn't found in distraction, but in courageous self-leadership. We want to thank you for joining our show. If you enjoyed this episode, we have more for you. You can now watch the entire episode on our YouTube and Spotify channels. While you're here, subscribe and don't forget to tap the bell. Visit prezerosportstalk.com to explore more conversations on sports, leadership, faith, performance, and innovation, from Sweden to the world.